Hey guys, so once again, it's Saturday, so that means I'm here. Welcome to the Breakfast Club. So, this one's going to be short, or at least I hope it is. It's just a quiet little musing on something that had happened last Sunday. As you know, I haven't really been talking about Trump and politics all that much lately, because quite frankly, it's kind of depressing to think about. But after Trump and his meeting with European leaders, something significant happened. And it's something that I am not too sure how many people paid close attention to. I mean, there were a lot of articles and such written on it, but the average citizen, at least the average American citizen, I don't think really understands just how important a certain statement from a certain person was. What I'm talking about is Chancellor Angela Merkel of Germany and her basic reaction to meeting with Trump and hearing his speeches out there and, hearing, should I say, his complaints about what he felt was, the unfair deficits between, what they were paying for NATO and European defense. She basically said, and this was the line, basically when he goes abroad and when he says things, I usually just roll my eyes and just go about my business. But she said something that had me going, oh. And it was basically that, quote, the times we can completely rely on others are somewhat over. And that we Europeans must take our destiny into our own hands, unquote. It's that last bit that really had me going, oh shit. That we Europeans must take our destiny into our own hands. That's a very important statement. It's a very big deal statement. And it could possibly mean, I'm saying possibly because I don't know for sure, but it could possibly mean the beginning of the end of the US's dominant hold on the global economy. Why would I say such a thing, considering how powerful this country is? Because let's face it, it is powerful. It is the big dog of the world. The United States has the strongest military. The United States has pretty much, despite the problems that people are having internally with finding a job and, paying bills and all that, we still do have a pretty dominant economy, the one that much of the world's other economies are based on. And we still hold a lot, well, I keep saying we as if we do. It's really the government and, the financial interests in this country. They're the ones who have a lot of dominant sway over what happens globally. But that could be on the downturn. What a lot of Americans don't realize is that the rest of the world isn't exactly happy with things being this way. Oh, sure, they'll go with it. They'll roll with it because they don't really have much choice. And it's more or less working for many countries, especially Western ones. But they've been making moves to kind of loosen the grip of the United States on, economic and global affairs for quite some time now. They haven't been blatant moves, but they've been interesting, subtle ones. Why do you think a European Union was formed in the first place? Why do you think that they came up with the euro in the first place? These were ways to deal with the American dollar, to come up with something that was, could at least compare and possibly even compete with the American dollar. They felt that by forming this union, not only would they be able to, be better allies in case things, would happen, defense-wise, but it was also a way of building up economic strength to shore up their strength against another powerful economic competitor. Why do you think such a big, the U.S. is, and at least was making such a big hullabaloo about what China was doing with its finances and with its currency's value? Because these were moves designed to basically deal with the strength of the dollar. Why do you think, well, if you were paying attention, why do you think that there were things developing in South America for the past few years? Where, you had certain countries like Venezuela openly saying, we are not allowing the states to dictate what happens in our countries anymore. All these countries are basically making all these different moves to kind of not have to depend so much on the U.S. anymore. And if you pay attention and if you've seen what, the different deals that countries have been making with each other, the different business decisions that certain companies are making overseas and all that, it's almost as if they were all basically trying to ally with each other and not necessarily the United States. Oh yeah, they may still have ties with the United States, but they meanwhile just like, let me form this business venture with you, and let's form these economic ties with you, and these new trade business deals and stuff with you. And then we hear this: we now must depend on ourselves. You can hear the silent and not the United States. That's a big freaking deal. This could, and I'm not going to just say that I'm saying this with any bit of certainty, like I know for a fact this is, they're going to really start trying to put the screws on the United States and, their hold on economic interests abroad. I don't know that for certain, but I do know that there is a lot of uncertainty going on in, with other countries and their view of what direction the United States is going in. To say that leaders abroad are not exactly happy with Trump is an understatement. And it's not because they feel like, oh man, he's going to force us to finally play fair and play ball with the United States. No, that's not the reason why they're uncomfortable. The reason why they're uncomfortable is because they know he's not a good leader. Look, I know there are going to be some people disagreeing with me on that, because they think he's a guy who can get things done, but so far he hasn't shown that he can actually get things done in any reasonable capacity, or even in a sane capacity. We've only been a few months in, and his administration is mired with scandal. Whether the validity of some of these scandals is true or not is still up to debate, but he's already getting slammed left and right with, accusations of, treachery, whether, people may have possibly committed acts of treason, whether there happens to be, conflicts of interest between his personal business and running the country. All these different things are slamming him already, and he's not exactly doing a very good job at dealing with these problems. And with all the stuff that's going on abroad, everything from a rise in terrorist attacks to economic instability, the last thing you need is someone who not only could be considered a maverick, but not a very competent maverick. You have a major world power being run by an administration that people who are decent leaders don't have much faith in. That's not a good sign. This is where betrayals start. This is where, the backdoor dealings start happening. Anyone who's paid attention to any sort of, crime drama, of seeing what happens with mafioso families or whatever, know the story when they start feeling that the guy who's in charge may not necessarily belong in that seat. That's when you start hearing whisperings of, we need to do something about this guy, or we need to start doing things on our own. That's why that statement that she said was a big deal to me. When I'm hearing them openly saying, we probably need to depend on ourselves. That's a big freaking deal. Decade or so ago, I doubt very much a European leader would straight up say something like that, at least out loud, from in front of news cameras for everybody to report on. That's a big freaking deal. I mean, we've heard China saying things like that. China every now and then will throw these little zingers out there about, like, perhaps, we need somebody to teach the United States some manners and things like that. I forgot the exact quote, but they were saying things like that every now and then, little zingers, because they were powerful enough to say that type of stuff. But Europe, no, they don't want that's not something that they would want to say. They always wanted to act like they were playing ball with the United States. And now this. I don't know about you guys, but to me, that's not a good sign. But hey, I could be wrong about this one. I'm definitely comfortable in saying I could be wrong about that one, because a lot is still up in the air. While there are other things that I'm a little bit more sure on when it comes to talking about politics and all these different clashes of, idealistic values and such, yeah, this one, there's a lot of gray. I do know, though, that what I'm hearing does make me feel a little uneasy. Not necessarily because I'm, you know, it's not because I'm a fan of Trump and I'm like, oh my God, you need to watch out. No, it's more about what the implications could mean for the rest of us. But I've yapped on this long enough. It's been 10 minutes, and I thought this was only going to take me 5. So, be interested to see your comments on this, or you know, more nuanced or stronger take on it. Have fun with the topic, and I'll catch you guys later.